Hey everyone, it's your girl TeraMichelle. Welcome back to my channel, Opinionated Scents, our safe space to discuss all things fragrance, whether we like them or not. Today I will be discussing my top 5 Plum fragrances and my top 5 incense fragrances. So let's jump right into the video. To start off, I do have 2 honorable mentions. Both of these fragrances I used to own full bottles of, but I have since moved on to flankers of theirs. So I don't currently own them in a full bottle. I just have decants. So I want to give a shout out to Dolce & Gabbana's The One for having a beautiful, deep, rich, ambery plum note. That fragrance is phenomenal. I just simply got tired of it. I might revisit it because as I was thinking about it and I sprayed for my decant, I remembered how much I miss it and used to love it. So it may make an appearance in my collection at some point in my lifetime again. Who knows? And then the other one is Dahlia Divine from Givenchy, the Eau de Parfum formulation. A very sophisticated, classy, elegant fragrance. It really does smell like money, and it has the Mirabelle note in it. Mirabelle plum, that golden looking little plum with the long stem that curves over. So those two are beautiful, loud, like boisterous plum notes. Like you really pick them up very well. So if you're someone who really loves a plum note, make sure you look into those two. Again, I just don't have them in my collection currently, but I couldn't leave them out because, to be honest, it was those two that really stood out to me when I was learning about the note of plum in fragrances. In the number 5 spot, I have 2 fragrances. I was testing these fragrances to see if they were worthy to be on my list, because at first I was going to go ahead and go with the 2 decants, but then I was like, no, I've never done a decant before, I don't think, on these note series, so we're going to go full bottle. And I tested the both of these, and their plum note, even though one touts plum and the other one touts Mirabelle, smells pretty spot on each of these fragrances, even though the fragrances aren't identical themselves. So I'm going to talk about both of them, neither being a powerhouse plum fragrance. However, if you're just an appreciator of a plum or a Mirabelle note, then you might like both of these. So the first one is from Dolce & Gabbana, and this is Dolce Peony. Very pretty fragrance. You know, I love it because of the peony and the freesia. There's also a nice pear note in here too, to go right along with the honey and the ambraxan in this. I just really like it. It's really pretty. It's nothing to, change the world, but it is nice to have, especially for spring and for summer. So if you like a good Mirabelle notes, you might find it in this one. Also in the number 5 spot, we have a Luminaire Intensa from the House of Vince Camuto. This is a very beautiful fragrance. I absolutely love it. It has a lot of notes going on in it, but it has plum and plum blossom and a really pretty pink pepper and bergamot note as well. I also love the sandalwood in here. There's lots of florals too. I know that there's iris and there might be some orchid and I think some rose. Like there's a lot that goes on into this for this to be so fresh and clean, slightly spicy. I just love this fragrance. I loved the original Luminaire, but I sold it because I never reached for it. And then I started to crave it again and saw that there was an Intensa version and said, well, let me pick that one up. And I'm glad that I did. I will probably pick up a Luminaire again one day in the future. Again, it's one of those fragrances like Calvin Klein's Women, the one with the eyeball on the, I'm gonna see if I can find a picture and put it up for you guys. Or a Glossier You, or a Juliet Has a Gun, not a Perfume. It's along that type of line of fragrance. So I really do enjoy it, but it really does have a pretty plum note. This one is way more prominent than the Dolce. Similar though, but this one is more, this is a louder perfume and it's going to project and last longer than the Dolce Peony. However, I'm glad to have them both. In the number 4 spot, we have a beautiful Mirabelle note. This is Chloe Nomad Absolu. I love this fragrance in the fall. It is so beautiful. It's so warm and just sensual to me. There is oak moss in here. There's sandalwood, there's musk, and there's Divana to go along with that Mirabelle. Not a whole lot of notes, not a whole lot going on, but that's pretty much how this entire line is. So if you love the note of plum or Mirabelle, this is a very good one with the note being prominent. In the number 3 spot, we have a fragrance that is relatively new to my collection. You guys saw me haul it. I absolutely love it. It hails from the king of musks himself. This is Narciso Rodriguez Musk Noir. The plum note in this is exquisite. This entire fragrance is absolutely captivating. I do wish for more longevity and more projection, but I will not complain because I'll top up all day in this. I want to bathe in this. This is plum. This is heliotrope. This is musk, of course. It's Narciso. And this is suede, y'all. Just listen. It could have been number 1, but it would be number 1 based off the entire collective fragrance, not just the plum note. So it's number 3. But as far as the best smelling out of all of these fragrances, I would definitely say right now, this is everything to me. In the number 2 spot, we're going to be talking about a Dua original blend, which means it's not inspired by anything. They created it on their own. This one is called Dua's Passions. Guys, the plum, the peach, the raspberry, the saffron, the cashmere suede, all day with this fragrance. I'm here all day with this fragrance. I think there's some rose de mai, there's like some bitter almond oil. There's a lot in this fragrance, but this is a fruity, beautiful, beautiful fragrance. Oh my goodness. The plum in here, you can't miss it. The plum and the peach are the best of friends, and I am here for it. So this is just the ultimate in feminine, in juicy, fruity, just lusciousness. I love this fragrance. In the number 1 spot, I have 2 dupes for Parfum de Marly's Cassilli. The plum in Dua's Dreamy Elixir and B Layard's Bella de Irresistible is absolutely stunning. I cannot choose between the 2 of these. They both smell identical to Cassilli to me. It's just an amazing fragrance overall. I do know that for Bella the Irresistible, because when you're dealing with Dua, it's always 5,000 notes. Like, listen, they smell the same. So with Bella the Irresistible, there is red currant in here. Of course, there is plum. There is vanilla, tonka bean, sandalwood, and mimosa. So that's pretty much the gist of what you're going to get in both of these. I don't even try. I smell the plum in this. I smell the rose in this, the fruitiness in this. They smell the same. So I'm just going to go with the flow. If you like one, you'll like the other. If you love one, you'll love the other. And that's it. But this fragrance here, I don't even feel the need for an actual full bottle of Cassilli because I have these 2. I also have dupes of Angelique Noir and feel the same way. While I have those 2 dupes, I'm not even worried about spending $260 on those bottles or whatever the price is at this point. But again, Bella the Irresistible from Layered, Dreamy Elixir from Dua, you can't go wrong. Perfect when it comes to plum. Now it's time to discuss the note of incense. Those who've been rocking with me long enough know I'm not an incense girl. I have sold so many fragrances because the incense was too strong. That was my biggest problem with Delena exclusive. I cannot stand that fragrance because of the incense. It is just gross. But what I've found is that I do have incense in quite a few of my fragrances, but it is a background player. It is not loud, it is not intense, and it's not leading the pack. So I can deal with that. Let's go ahead and talk about these 5 fragrances that I love so much and the similarities that they have. In the number 5 spot is a Jasmine fragrance that I have kind of a love-hate relationship with. You know, it's woody, it has its jasmine, it has its white amber, it has incense and myrrh. Alien Essence Absolu. The vanilla pod in here though. Everything works so beautifully together that nothing just really overwhelms anything. The jasmine is definitely the strongest thing, but again, that white amber, that cashmere wood, the vanilla pod, the incense, the myrrh, everything balances out. And I absolutely love this fragrance for that. Anytime I'm feeling like I can't stand this fragrance, it's the jasmine. It's never the incense. It's never the myrrh. And I also think that that is what really helps with the incense, the vanilla pod and the myrrh. Bring it back a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Dial it back a little bit for TeraMichelle to be able to experience and love the note inside the fragrance. In the number 4 spot, we have the similarities of incense, amber, jasmine, and vanilla with this fragrance. There's a lot more to this beautiful flanker, but for the most part, that is what you get. This is Giorgio Armani's Si Le Parfum. This is the darkest, sexiest, most sensual, and potent version of Si. Of all the flankers, this is the one that is just supremely grown and sexy. It's also the hardest one to find. So with that being said, I love the incense in here. Again, it's drowned out by all of those other notes that just blend so well together, that work so well together, that allow me to, again, enjoy that note inside of this fragrance. In the number 3 spot, we have a fragrance that I used to hate. And then Takara Thompson talked me into trying it again, and I fell in love after about 2 years of swearing off this perfume. This is Lancome's Tresor La Nuit or the Parfum. Fruity. It's so fruity. It's so sweet. It's spicy. It's loud. It's potent. It's beautiful. It's sexy. It's sensual. Most of us have this or have tried this, and the incense was off-putting at first, but guys, I live for this fragrance now. The coffee, the caramel, the patchouli, the praline, the lychee, the passion fruit. Sign me up for it all, including the incense. Very sexy fragrance. I know a lot of people used to use it as their clubbing fragrance. I adore this. I'm so happy I came around and I tried it again. Again, Tresor La Nuit or the Parfum. In the number 2 spot, I have an original and I have a dupe for it. Because the original is really expensive. It's from the House of Guerlain's Private Arts and Materials collection. This is Spiritus Dolce and the B-layered dupe of Sweet Spirit. So we're talking about a beautiful Bulgarian rose note. We're talking about incense. We're talking about vanilla, benzoin, bergamot. You know, this is a very, when I first smelled Spiritus Dolce, it was off-putting because it was rather medicinal. The benzoin in this was very, very heavy. In the B-layered version, they dialed that back because that was a huge complaint with this one. They smell really, really, really good. I think this is a safer blind buy unless you know you absolutely love benzoin. This is $260, or at least it was. I think it's been repackaged into some little ugly bottle, and I think the price went up, someone told me, but I'm so glad I have it like this. This one here, I think is maybe $65, you know, so heavy on the vanilla, like super heavy on the vanilla. This is always somebody's holy grail vanilla fragrance, but the incense in here is really pretty. It adds a spicy kick to this, and it gives it just something else. Like it zhuzhes it up a bit. Again, with the Alien Essence Absolutes and the Madonna's Truth or Dare Nakeds, and for those of you guys who like I Need by Nishani, I do not, but still, it's very fun and exciting to have such complexities in a vanilla fragrance. It just takes a vanilla fragrance to the next level. My number 1 favorite incense fragrance. I don't like the exclusive version, but I love the way that they did it here. I think honestly the lychee and the rhubarb being so tart is what helps me take in the incense in this fragrance. And again, there's vanilla in this one too. There's a lot to this fragrance, but this beautiful rose, incense, lychee, rhubarb, baby girl here. From Parfums de Marly, it's the one and only exquisite trendsetter, Delena. I love her. She's perfect in everything. I love the tart and the spicy kick that the incense gives. I love the rose. It all works. My number 1 favorite incense fragrance, Delena. Again, we're wrapping up another video, guys, and this note series is coming to an end. And it's been so much fun. I appreciate you guys so much. I know a lot of you love it. I will be picking it up again in the spring. or at the end of winter going into spring. With more notes, I have been jotting down what you guys have been asking for, and the majority of them are what I would consider spring fragrances. I'm going to continue dropping the rest of this week to finish out. I have some really cool ones coming up, and I'm saving the most requested one for the end. You guys should know what that is. And then next week, we're off to something new that I hope you guys love. If you're still here, please do not forget to click that like button. Also join the Terra Squad, subscribe, and click the notification bell so that you never miss any of my future uploads. Guys, I want to see you in the comments. Give me a really, really great incense fragrance that is high on the incense, or maybe even some frankincense, but also has a lot of like heaviness to it, like whether it's vanilla or praline or caramel, something to sweeten it up a bit. Kind of remember, you know what? I honestly think the perfect one would be Tresor La Nuit or the Parfum. I just can't see it getting any better. But if you have an incense fragrance that is super sweet, because that has to be, I mean, it's just a requirement for me, let me know in the comments. Also, talk to me about your favorite plum fragrances. I would like to add at least one more. Maybe one that is just super heavy on plum. Like you just smell, taste, feel all of the plum when you smell it. I think I would like something like that. Anyway, of course, I want to see you in the comments. And until then,